Among the boundless waves of the ocean, I felt small and vulnerable. It was my first voyage on a ship, and I was full of eager enthusiasm to explore the world. But my idealized images of a sailor's life quickly dissipated when our ship entered a foggy, windless zone. There was a dead calm on the deck, as if nature was holding its breath. I couldn't help but feel that something was amiss. The old sailor, who always seemed so calm, looked at me with concern in his eyes, as if he saw something I couldn't. Nights grew colder and darker. The sounds that usually accompanied our sailing began to disappear, replaced only by the whispers of the wind and mysterious rustlings. I began to feel that our ship was not alone on this ocean. And then strange things started to happen. Shadows moved across the deck, as if animated silhouettes of ancient sea monsters. Cries and moans echoed from nowhere, making the hairs on my arms stand on end. We lost contact with other ships, and compasses pointed in strange directions, leading into the depths of the sea. Fear gripped everyone on board. We began to avoid the fog, but it seemed to pursue us, engulfing our minds and igniting our deepest nightmares. Our resources dwindled, our strength waned, and the sea endowed us with its secrets, leaving no opportunity to understand what was happening. And amidst this madness, I began to see something else. Something that seemed to call me into the depths. I don't know what this creature or phenomenon is, but it infiltrated my dreams, lurked in moments of solitude, and whispered in the wind. Now, as I sit here in the darkness of my cabin, I realize that we didn't just get lost at sea. We stumbled upon something that belongs to the sea itself. And I'm not sure if we'll ever be able to escape this nightmare abode without consequences. Days turned into weeks, and the eerie presence haunting our ship only grew stronger. The once brave crew members now moved about in a state of perpetual dread, their eyes darting nervously at shadows that seemed to dance with malevolent intent. I tried to find solace in the company of my fellow sailors, but the fear was infectious, spreading like wildfire through the ranks. Even the most seasoned among us trembled at the thought of what lurked beneath the surface of the dark, churning waters. As the days passed, our supplies dwindled and morale plummeted. Each night, the whispers in the wind grew louder, and the visions that plagued my dreams became more vivid. I saw the creature, a monstrous amalgamation of tentacles and eyes, beckoning me into its abyssal domain. But amidst the despair, a flicker of hope emerged. One of the crew members claimed to have glimpsed a distant light on the horizon, a sign of land. With renewed determination, we set our course towards the elusive beacon, praying that it would lead us to safety. Yet, as we drew closer, the light seemed to flicker and fade, leaving us once again adrift in the darkness. Desperation gnawed at our hearts, and whispers turned to screams as we realized that the land we sought was nothing more than a cruel illusion, a mirage conjured by the malevolent forces that held us captive. Now, as I stand on the deck of our doomed vessel, staring into the abyss below, I know that escape is impossible. We are at the mercy of the sea and whatever ancient horrors lie beneath its surface. Our fate is sealed, and I fear that the next chapter of this harrowing tale will be written in blood and darkness. With each passing day, the grip of terror tightened around us like the coils of a sea serpent. Our once sturdy vessel now felt like nothing more than a fragile raft adrift in a storm-tossed sea. Madness lurked around every corner, its tendrils reaching out to ensnare us in its suffocating embrace. The crew, once united in purpose, now succumbed to paranoia and distrust. Whispers of mutiny hung heavy in the air, as fear drove us to turn against one another in a desperate bid for survival. Yet, amidst the chaos, a glimmer of defiance flickered within me. I refused to surrender to the darkness that threatened to consume us all. With steely resolve, I rallied those who still clung to hope, urging them to stand firm against the encroaching abyss. But our defiance only seemed to anger the malevolent force that held us captive. The sea itself rose up against us, its waves crashing against our battered hull with relentless fury. We were but playthings in the hands of an ancient power beyond our comprehension. As the situation grew increasingly dire, I knew that our only hope lay in confronting the source of our torment head-on. With a small band of loyal comrades at my side, I ventured into the heart of the storm, determined to uncover the truth and break free from the clutches of the abyss. But what awaited us there was beyond anything I could have imagined. the very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist, revealing glimpses of a realm far more sinister than anything I had ever known. And at its center, shrouded in darkness, lurked the source of our suffering, a monstrous entity whose malevolent gaze pierced through to the depths of my soul. Now, as I stand face to face with the embodiment of our nightmares, I realize that our struggle has only just begun. The abyss stares back at me with infinite malice, daring me to defy its will and plunge deeper into its dark embrace. But I refuse to surrender to despair. I will fight until my last breath to reclaim what was lost and emerge victorious from the depths of the abyss. As we stood on the precipice of the abyss, confronting the embodiment of our nightmares, a chilling realization washed over me. The entity before us was not merely a creature of the sea, but a manifestation of the darkest recesses of our own minds, the culmination of our deepest fears and regrets given form. With trembling hands and a heart heavy with dread, I knew that our only chance of survival lay in confronting the demons within ourselves. Drawing upon the last vestiges of courage, I urged my companions to stand firm against the onslaught of despair that threatened to engulf us. But the abyss was relentless in its assault, its tendrils of darkness closing in around us with suffocating intensity. Each step forward felt like wading through molasses, the weight of our sins dragging us down into the abyssal depths. Yet, even in the face of such overwhelming darkness, a spark of hope flickered within me. I refused to let despair consume me, clinging to the belief that redemption was still possible, if only we dared to confront the shadows that lurked within. And so, with determination burning in our hearts, we pressed onward into the heart of the abyss, each step bringing us closer to the ultimate confrontation with our own inner demons. As we delved deeper into the abyss, the darkness seemed to grow thicker, obscuring our vision and clouding our minds with doubt and fear. But still we pressed on, driven by a stubborn refusal to surrender to the abyss's malevolent embrace. And then, at last, we reached the epicenter of the abyss, a swirling maelstrom of darkness and despair that threatened to consume us whole. But instead of cowering in fear, we stood tall, united in our resolve to confront the darkness head-on. With a final, defiant cry, we charged into the heart of the abyss, ready to face whatever horrors awaited us within. For we knew that only by confronting the darkness within ourselves could we hope to emerge victorious from the depths of the abyss. As we plunged deeper into the abyss, the darkness seemed to swallow us whole, enveloping us in a suffocating embrace. Our senses were assaulted by a cacophony of whispers and cries, echoing off the walls of the abyss like the tormented wails of lost souls. But even amidst the despair, a glimmer of light flickered in the darkness, a beacon of hope guiding us through the labyrinthine depths. With renewed determination, we pressed forward, driven by a sense of purpose that burned brighter than any fear. With each step, the shadows that had haunted us for so long began to take shape, coalescing into grotesque manifestations of our deepest fears and regrets. Memories long buried rose to the surface, twisting and distorting into nightmarish visions that threatened to consume us whole. But still we pressed on, confronting our demons head-on with a courage born of desperation. We fought not only for our own survival, but for the redemption of our souls, for we knew that only by facing our fears could we hope to break free from the abyss's grip. And then, just when it seemed that all hope was lost, we stumbled upon a glimmer of light, a doorway leading to salvation. With a collective cry of triumph, we raced towards it, knowing that our salvation lay just beyond its threshold. As we stepped through the doorway, we emerged into blinding daylight, the harsh glare of the sun banishing the darkness that had haunted us for so long. We were free at last, liberated from the clutches of the abyss and the demons that had tormented us. But even as we basked in the warmth of the sun, we knew that our journey was far from over. The scars of our ordeal would remain with us forever, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked within. Yet we were no longer slaves to our fears. We had faced the abyss and emerged stronger for it, ready to face whatever challenges the future held. And so, with heads held high and hearts full of hope, we set sail once more, knowing that whatever trials awaited us, we would face them together, united in our defiance of the darkness that had once threatened to consume us. As we sailed away from the abyss, the weight of our ordeal still hung heavy in the air. The memories of our harrowing journey lingered like shadows on the deck, a constant reminder of the darkness we had faced and the price we had paid to escape its clutches. But despite the scars that marred our souls, there was also a sense of newfound strength and resilience among us. We had stared into the abyss and emerged victorious, proving to ourselves that even in the face of unimaginable horror, there was still hope to be found. As we charted a course for home, the open sea stretched out before us like a vast expanse of possibility. Each wave that crashed against the hull echoed with the promise of a new beginning, a chance to leave behind the nightmares of the past and embrace the promise of the future. But as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, it became clear that the effects of our ordeal would not be so easily shaken off. Nightmares plagued our sleep, and the memories of what we had witnessed in the abyss haunted our waking hours. Yet, even in the midst of our struggles, there were moments of unexpected beauty and joy. The camaraderie that had formed among us during our journey grew stronger with each passing day, a testament to the bonds forged in the crucible of adversity. And so, as we sailed homeward, we did so not as the same individuals who had set out on this journey, but as a united crew bound together by shared experiences and a determination to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For we knew that while the darkness of the abyss may have tested our resolve, it had also revealed the strength that lay within us. And as long as we stood together, there was nothing we could not overcome. As we approached the familiar shores of home, a sense of relief washed over us like a gentle tide. The tumultuous journey through the abyss had tested our limits and pushed us to the brink of despair, but now, with land on the horizon, we could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Yet, as we drew closer, a nagging sense of unease began to creep into our hearts. The memories of our ordeal still lingered, casting a shadow over the joy of our impending return. We knew that we could never truly leave the abyss behind us. It would always be a part of who we were, a reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the sea. But despite the lingering trauma of our journey, there was also a sense of hope and renewal in the air. We had faced our fears and emerged stronger for it. And now, as we sailed homeward, we carried with us the knowledge that we were capable of overcoming even the greatest challenges. As our ship docked in the harbor, we were greeted by the warm embrace of friends and loved ones, their smiles a balm to our weary souls. For a moment, it felt as though the darkness of the abyss had been left behind, replaced by the familiar comforts of home. But even as we celebrated our safe return, we knew that our journey was far from over. The abyss had changed us in ways we could never have imagined, and we would spend the rest of our lives grappling with the memories of what we had seen and endured. Yet, as we stood on the shores of home, surrounded by the ones we loved, we also knew that we were not alone. Together, we would face whatever challenges the future held, drawing strength from the bonds that had been forged in the crucible of adversity. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the tranquil waters of the harbor, we raised our voices in a chorus of hope and resilience, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead on our journey through the abyss.